Hello, MANSCAPED. Hello, MANSCAPED. Did you see there's a code you can use for 20% off? BSR Sports 20, link in bio. Perfect. Guys, if you don't use it, you're daft. You're very, very daft.
100%.
So
need to get your hands on this.
You really do. It's honestly,
thank you.
Like, the leading market in men's grooming. Like, you can't go wrong with something.
If you're
like
not
this.
leaving yourself happy, you're not leaving the ladies happy. That's
5-star reviews. Go for it. You won't be disappointed.
Guys,
You must get this package alone just for the newspaper. Like, the newspaper just
for the newspaper alone.
It's going up on my wall.
It does mean no mess. Like, I don't think they've missed out anything. No mess, no noise, in the dark, good smell, good tone, grip, size. Oh my. Boxer's t-shirt.
Can it go wrong?
If this is not the full package, what is?
I might leave the podcast and just go use this.
If you want £20 off, 20%, £20 off. Link is in the bio. It's just very daft if you didn't do it. If you're not going to do it. Hello there and welcome to the BSR Sports Podcast from the fans, for the fans. My name's Blair McNally.
I'm Liam Murphy.
I'm Robbie Hanratty.
And I'm McFarlane.
And today we're going to be bringing you a very, very special edition. Scotland the Brave. We're back for a bang, baby. What a result tonight. Wasn't the best, but we got over the line, didn't we? And we scraped out a draw. Usual from Scotland. Celebrating our draw, eh? Where do we start? We'll start on, in fact, I don't think there's any other topic to start on except from John McGinn's goal. What a goal. Before we get into the match, we just need to give that goal all the attention it needs, because whether it be offside or not, oh my, John McGinn, where did you pluck that from? Robbie, what was your thoughts?
Yeah, just superb. John McGinn's been standout for Aston Villa this season, and we all know he's got that in his locker. And as soon as they put him further forward behind the striker, which the position I think suits him better, to come up with a goal as sublime as that was just brilliant. And as you say, I didn't celebrate at the time because I thought it was offside, but watching back, I think he was on. And even if he wasn't, we'll take it. Like, getting a draw with that goal was superb, considering the circumstances, to come back from 2 goals down. So fair play to Super John McGinn, I'd say.
Yeah, 100%. And then, so obviously, getting into the game, very, very interesting lineup to start with from Steve Clarke, wasn't it? We'll start on the topic of Declan Gallagher. We've seen the performances he put in. There's a bit of debate whether Grant Hanley should have started. Declan Gallagher never started. He's been the Motherwell captain. Motherwell haven't been the greatest recently. Gallagher's been out injured. What I would say is Grant Hanley's made up for it, hasn't he? He's put his name on that team sheet himself. What a goal. What a goal to bring it back to 1-1, wasn't it? Look.
Yeah, like you say, before the game started, when the team was announced, there was obviously some question marks there, but I mean, he's totally justified the choice, and that's just football. At the end of the day, there's gonna be a lot of question marks around some of the decisions sometimes with teams, but that's the best thing you can do, is go out and put in a good performance. I don't think Scotland were at the best, but he didn't seem at all shaky or anything at the back. I can't say I've watched a huge amount of Grant Hanley in my time, but seemed steady enough at the back and got us a huge goal.
Yeah, 100%. Liam, what was your thoughts on Ryan Christie starting? He's been plucked out of the Celtic team from a raging, on fire Turnbull, to say the least, and Turnbull's not been selected for the squad. Christie starts. It's a weird one, isn't it?
It's a weird one, and towards the end of the game, I thought Christie started to come more alive into the game. Obviously, he played a big part in the John McGinn goal with his header on. But I'm not a Celtic fan, but I'm one of Ryan Christie's biggest critics. Like, I don't like him as a footballer, to be perfectly honest. And Mr. Rosed as well, just like, can he hit a shot? And there was we'll probably get into later on, but with his shot straight at the goalkeeper after the keeper made a mistake, I was just like, oh, you got to bury that. You got to bury that, mate. I know it was a good save, but if you just put a bit more power, maybe even just a tad more height, it's probably going to go in the back of the net. And it really does surprise me that I feel like Ryan Christie almost has immunity in the Scotland squad at this point because of what he's done previously, obviously playing a big part in us getting to the Euros. But
a big part, the winning goal.
It's a shame. It's a shame, yes, that someone like Turnbull is missing out because we're crying out for someone like a Turnbull.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Ryan Christie thinks he is. And I'm not. Yeah, okay. Ryan Christie has got the ability, but he hasn't shown that ability in over a year now, and Turnbull has. So I feel like it's unfair. But at the end of the day, Christie, he played. I wouldn't say he played terrible tonight. He was all right, but it's probably the best we've seen Christie play in a long time as well. And I mean, it's a shame that someone like Turnbull misses out. But what are you going to do at this point?
Yeah, I think Christie's miss up at Ross County summed up his season, didn't it? Just the season that he's been having. But to be honest with you, for what Christie done, that solo effort against Serbia to put us through the Euros, well, didn't it put us into penalties? But for what he done, I will never ever complain. I'm not too angry about Clark putting him into the team sheet and putting him into the starting 11 because he might not have been the best this season, but he merits it from that goal alone. So fair play to him. Thank you, Ryan, if you're watching this. Scott McTominay put in at midfield, an interesting one. He's been playing at centre back recently, so it's been a game of a bit of a switch around today, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, sorry, on you go.
Oh, look, when you go, you're a Man United
just
fan.
Because I'm a Man United fan, I thought I'd get a wee word in with McTominay. Yeah, like that. That's the position he plays in, week out, and in the Premier League for a good team. So I feel like you'd be daft not to make the most of that for Scotland. Obviously, he can do a job at centre back, and if you're lacking for centre backs, and maybe I've got a few more options in midfield, I can see why they do it. But I feel like you're only getting like a 50%, 60% of what McTominay gives you. McTominay's a goal threat at the end of the day. He's got a goal in him. He's tenacious in the midfield. He'll win battles. He can do it. He's very good. He's a good midfielder, and for what Scotland have, they probably don't have a better box to box midfielder. So it was nice to see him in there tonight. Don't think he set the world alight tonight by any means. I don't think it was done anything special. And I watched them the other day for Man United. They had a poor game then as well, responsible for the second and third goal for Man United. But yeah, he's a very good player, McTominay. I think the more we see him in midfield for Scotland, the better McTominay will be for Scotland.
Yeah, so coming into the match, obviously you all know the game finished 2 each, but coming into the match, what was your confidence like around with each of you going into this match? Did you think there was a chance that we would get hammered? Did you think we would take this game? Robbie, how did you feel coming into this match?
Well, coming into the match, I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to start off with a victory. I know in the qualification campaign since France 98, pretty sure it's only been like 3 wins in the opening games of the group. So it's not been great for Scotland. And obviously we didn't win tonight. But I came in with quite a lot of optimism because I thought, I know Austria are a good team. They've got players like David Alaba. But I thought Scotland on paper could take momentum from qualifying for the Euros and take the game to Austria. And it actually really disappointed me the first 35 minutes of the game because it took Scotland so long to actually get out their own half and try to take the game to Austria. It was kind of a bit shaky. I thought Hanley was going to maybe get himself sent off. Apart from that, he obviously redeemed himself for the goal. But I think Scotland, as I said earlier, will take the 2-2 draw. But I actually thought we could have won that game, like going into the match.
Yeah, Austria are good opponents, but a very interesting one leaving Marcel Sabitzer out, one of their star players tonight. What was your thoughts on that, Liam?
Well, I didn't even realise he was Austrian, to be perfectly honest. I'm not going to lie to you, but was he on the bench? Was he on the bench at all, or was he?
He was on the bench tonight. David Alaba started. He started at left back, but he'd been playing centre back, so that was another weird one as well.
Alaba can play multiple positions. I've seen him play left back, centre mid, centre back. So he can play anywhere really. But that's a bit of a surprise that he didn't start, because he has a decent player. Maybe it must have been an injury thing, or maybe Austria didn't take the game as seriously as they should have. But
yeah,
if you're going off the question you said earlier about my confidence going into the game, I'm not saying I'm disappointed with a draw, but when you're the home team against a team like Austria, you should be seen as the favourites. And Scotland probably were seen as favourites going into this game because they have an overall better squad, I would say, than Austria. Austria have a better player, but they don't have a better team. And Scotland coming into this game, I was really disappointed up until we got that equaliser from Grant Hanley. And it could have been so much more from Scotland, but something was lacking. I think
it was
Lyndon
very
Dykes.
flat. Do you know?
Yeah,
It was very flat.
Lyndon Dykes had an off night, I thought, and I know it's probably early on in his Scotland career, but I probably would have taken the risk and started Che Adams because he looked lively coming off the bench. Obviously, he couldn't do too much with the amount of time he was given, but Lyndon Dykes seemed to have a bit of an off one tonight. He held the ball up well, but there was one time where Andy Robertson whipped it in at the far post to Dykes, and I think he was about a stud away, and I'm like, oh, if you're just a little bit quicker there, mate, then you probably would have tapped it in. But I'm disappointed, but I can't be too disappointed because at the end of the day, it's Scotland. You can't be too disappointed with a draw against Austria because we're not the best team in the world, but we still expect more based on what we've done recently.
Do you think the main focus should be on qualification for the World Cup or looking ahead to the Euros at this moment in time, because it's a hard one? We've not been in a major tournament for how long, and you've obviously got the option of putting all your energy into the Euros and seeing if you can make something of it, or focusing on the World Cup at this moment in time, taking that a game at a time. What's your thoughts, Luke?
I think the Euros is still a wee while away. I don't know if you're suggesting resting players or anything. I wouldn't do that. I think you've got months for these players
maybe
to recover.
What I was trying to say is maybe trying out different formations, not taking it as serious as you could, trying out different players and positions for the Euros coming up.
Not for me. I don't know. Obviously, that's definitely something that Scotland should maybe do at one point, maybe in a friendly game or at other points. But no, it's the World Cup. We've just qualified for the Euros, and if we don't qualify for the World Cup, we're still gonna be happy with this team we've got because they've given us something that no team has given us in so long. But I don't like that. That's maybe that's the worst mentality Scotland could have, probably, if we just went into it thinking, oh, we've qualified for the Euros, we don't need to qualify for the World Cup. I think we'd all like to see Scotland in both competitions. So yeah, definitely be playing your best players and formations and tactics that you already know work. And they are building on something. We were getting into some good form at the end of the qualification campaign for the Euros. We've got some momentum now, so it's about sort of building on that, and you don't want to let everything you've sort of built fall apart. And to answer your question from earlier as well about how I sort of felt coming into it, I think I'd have taken a draw before the game. Obviously, it's at home and you want to win your home games, but we've not got the Scotland fans. They aren't there, so this is essentially the same as going away to Austria. So if we can draw with them tonight, there's no reason we can't get a result against them when we play the away game, assuming they still won't be fans there in the ground then. But it's a weird one. I thought before the game I'll take a draw, but after how poor we played and still managed to get 2 goals, it kind of makes me think if we had turned up from the beginning of that game, Austria were potentially there for the taking. I don't think they played particularly well. I think if they brought their A game, they probably would have beat us comfortably tonight. I really don't think we played well until we got the first goal, and then we sort of started trying to push on and get the winner, which is good to see. And obviously got the second goal in the end as well. But yeah, I think from seeing the way Austria played for the first part of the game, I would be confident if Scotland can just go a bit further next time that they could get the win.
Yeah. Do you think qualifying for Euros has boosted the confidence going into games?
I think it has to. Yeah,
absolutely.
It has to.
because we've got this like buzz around the Scottish fans now that we've not had in so long, and you know, all four of us, I think none of us would get mad. I don't think if Scotland could go and lose.
We'll be coming down the road.
Yeah, and they could go to the Euros and lose all their games, and we won't be mad with them. So the pressure's completely off. And that's when
Tell Robbie was trying to sing there.
That's when a team can be dangerous and players can play well, is when the pressure is off. So I think that's something that we've got a bit of an advantage over some other teams. That there'll be a lot of pressure from their fans. So yeah, I definitely think there's something that we can build on, and I think that they'd be crazy not to be trying to do their best to qualify for the World Cup and seeing what can happen at the Euros.
Yeah. So Austria obviously opened the scoring with. It was a wonderful strike. It was a dipping effort. Marshall, would you say he's maybe at fault for it, Liam?
I'd say he was. Any keeper, I think, should do better in parrying it away from the goal. He pretty much played it straight to the attacker's feet. David Marshall, yeah, he is a good keeper, but he has his flaws as well. I mean, he doesn't play for the best team in the world. The Derby, who are fighting relegation at the moment, obviously they've dug themselves out of a hole recently. But I thought for the first goal, David Marshall certainly could have done better. It's not an absolute howler. It's not a howler, I'd say, but it is definitely an error he wouldn't look too fondly back on.
I think it's a hard one to take from because you have obviously got the wall of defenders in front of him. The shots, it's literally whipped over the defenders and it bounces right in front of him. It's a hard one because he's diving and he's needing to parry it down, but it's just very unlucky, I feel. Just he's parried it right into the player's path and that's it. Robbie?
Yeah, it was just typical, really. I was pretty furious at the goal, how it happened, because he put it straight back out to the striker, but I do understand the circumstances in the moment. It's easy to look back on and think, oh, I should have put it by the post, but if we'd lost that game, there'd be a lot more fingers pointed at Marshall. And to touch on in playing for Derby, he's been injured and he struggled to get back into that Derby side. So I didn't expect him to start this game, actually, because he hasn't been starting for his club. But obviously that heavyweights in Saviour, so the fans love him. And we like a sing-song about him as well now, despite maybe what happened tonight.
David Marshall, oh, super. I can't wait for London. BSR Sports, we are COVID or no COVID, we'll be down. We're
taking London by storm, don't worry.
Oh, I'm buzzing for it. So, the game was obviously pretty flat, wasn't it? Austria took the lead from a disappointing goal, and then out of nowhere, Grant Hanley. It was just the least expected goal ever, wasn't it? What a goal as well, took it excellently.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's probably like you said, it's probably the last one you expect to score, but it was a free header, and when he got the opportunity, he's like, you can't miss from there. And it's a good header, and it was the perfect goal, perfect time for Scotland to try and get back in the game. And obviously we conceded again, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But I feel like it was coming for Scotland because as soon as they scored, we seemed to click into gear. Because then we started to have a few more chances come our way, and Robertson was starting to bomb on at that point. Also thought Tierney had a good game as well. We saw him; he was bombing on occasion as well, doing his defensive work really well. And just a quick thing on Tierney. To be fair, this is coming from a Liverpool fan, right? But I think Kieran Tierney should be Scotland captain.
Think so?
Yeah, he's a much better leader than Andy Robertson. I don't like falling into this persona where the better player gets the captaincy. I think this is a problem at Arsenal as well, because I think Tierney should actually be the captain of Arsenal, but it's been given to Aubameyang.
I'd agree.
So for Scotland, I think. What you said?
Have you ever been to a Scotland game? Like, I mean, seeing being to a Scotland game where you're sitting next to the pitch.
No.
See, I used to have that exact same thought. See, when you're sitting next to the pitch, you understand who is the leaders of that team. You wouldn't believe how much of a leader Andy Robertson is on that park. It's you look at Henderson for Liverpool and you think he's probably the main leader in that team. Andy Robertson's up there as well. He's magnificent at just taking control and finding people's spaces, telling them where and when to be, and he gets so frustrated at times. He's an unbelievable leader. I never noticed that till I sat next to. I was sitting at Hampden last year against Belgium, and I sat next to the pitch, down next to the pitch, and that's when I realised, and I was like, I thought Andy Robertson was a quiet player. Very, very. It shocked me, to be honest with you.
I'm not denying that Andy Robertson is a fantastic leader. I mean, this has come from a Liverpool fan, for God's sake. But I think I always have that kind of soft spot for Tierney. I just feel like he offers so much. Not offers more.
He's a Celtic fan at heart.
Keep that quiet for now. But Tierney is a fantastic player as well, and I just feel when you see him on the pitch, there were some clips of him in the North London derby about how vocal he was, and I feel like for nation and for club, he's the captain without the armband at times.
But that's still good to have that sort of player. Like even if Robertson is the captain, to have other leaders in the team is really good. Like for me, it's hard for any of us to say who should be captain anyway, because we're not in the locker room seeing what players are sort of leading conversations and sort of motivating the others. But like for me, it pains me to see how good a team Liverpool have been over the last few seasons. But if we can take a little bit of that, of Liverpool's success, and put it into the Scotland team in the form of Andy Robertson, because he is one of the most important players for that team, and he's obviously a winner. He's one of the few players we can say in that Scotland team is a winner. He's got a league medal, a Champions League medal. So we need to try and sort of get that to rub off on the players. Not saying we're about to become, well, they're all about to become winners and we're about to go and win the Euros or something, but to have that sort of player in the leader room and the locker room, and leading the players, I think is important. But you're definitely right about Kieran Tierney as well. Like to have numerous players who are experienced in playing for good teams and leaders is so important, I think, for Scotland.
Yeah. Do you think it should? Do you think Ryan Christie should have had a penalty first half? Second half, it was second half actually.
I've seen softer given. That's all I'm going to say. And I think it is a penalty. I think if you got given that penalty, the opposition would be going mad. But I think anywhere outside the box, that's a free kick. So I feel like it is, I think it is a foul. So that's why I'm thinking, it is a penalty. It's
a foul, isn't it? If it's a foul inside the box, it's a penalty. Like you said the Austrian players would be mad. I'd be more, if I was an Austrian fan, I'd be more mad at the defenders for manhandling a player like that in the box. It's just silly defending, and I have no idea how we didn't get the penalty. Like we got a bit of luck because they got a goal disallowed, so it sort of evened itself out in the end. But I don't know how the referee didn't give it, honestly.
Yeah. And then we obviously move on. I was in making a cup of coffee at this point, so I missed the Austria goal. But would you like to talk us through it, Robbie?
It was a great header. I'm not sure what the player's name was, but tall, lanky guy. And he honestly, the way he guides it was back to goal from 12 yards was fantastic. Like I think that's what we spoke on Lyndon Dykes having an off day as such. That's what you need from a player, clinical from 12 yards out and putting the ball past Marshall. Even though it was 12 yards out, Marshall had no chance. It was in the corner of the net. So it was a cracking goal from Austria. When they scored, maybe it just comes so used to watching Aberdeen, and when we concede, I don't have much hope of us getting back in the game. So when they scored, my head went down and I thought, there's no chance we're getting back in this. This is another failed campaign. We're playing Israel on Sunday, etc. But credit to Scotland, we dug in there and showed the character that we need to have. And that's what we want from a side. And I'm sure Steve Clarke will be pleased that the players dug in and came from behind twice and scored, which they don't often do they?
Yep. So obviously, this Austria scored. 10 minutes to go. Panic stations alert. Shea Adams came on, and then out of the blue, we talked about Grant Hanley out of the blue. John McGinn. First of all, my thought was, why are you trying that? Second of all, I thought, what have I just seen? What have I just witnessed? And we spoke about it at the start of the game. What a goal! Honestly, I still can't get my head over that overhead kick. We John McGinn. What is he? 5'9", 5'10"?
The Aston Villa players like to call him John Fat Arse McGinn.
Honestly, see when I was sitting, mind up, see the way I was saying, I was sitting next to down next to the pitch. So what it is I work with that Hexago and they do a fan zone. And we get tickets next to the dugout. So I was sitting right next to the dugout. And see when John McGinn was running, I'll tell you that story. When John McGinn was running, Kenny McLean was absolutely pissing himself laughing. And the whole bench just busted laughing. And then you just seen Kenny McLean stand up at his seat on the bench and he just started going. It was
we all love King Kenny.
Yeah, so McGinn comes out with an outrageous overhead tip in the 85th minute. I think it was 3 minutes added on, 8 minutes left. Looked as if Scotland could take all three points, didn't it? I was just about to say it wasn't 3 points, but it is, because we're in the group stage, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought we looked more like they scored as well. And again, that's what I was saying before, in that we didn't play very well, but we had ourselves in a position that we could win it, and I think that's good, and that's encouraging going forward, because we can only get better from today. I really feel like the first wee while of the game we weren't very creative, weren't doing very well going forward. So the fact that we were in it till the end and with a chance to win it, it's encouraging, like I say. And the goal was brilliant as well. Robbie was saying earlier, we all know he's got that in him. I didn't know he had that in him. Obviously, we know he's got an absolute rocket of a left foot, but that sort of skill, like, it's something you associate with like a top-notch player, and that may well be what John McGinn's becoming. I think he needs to leave Aston Villa soon, because I feel like he could go and play
Man United.
Possibly, yeah. We need
Mate,
the midfielder. Watching Fred.
Yeah.
Fred at times the other day, I wouldn't mind having McGinn over him. So
Did you see?
Fred's had a decent season. I won't be too harsh on him.
Did you see the thing on TikTok and it said who lost the ball for Man United, and it came up the Dave song and it goes Fred again.
No, I didn't.
She's so high.
No, I didn't see it.
I get so high, and it was Fred again. It was I was laughing.
Too old for TikTok, mate.
Oh,
No such
never
thing.
told for TikTok. I know.
I'm this year and I'm scrolling that half my life.
Oh, I love it. Aye, back on topic. Man United would be perfect for John McGinn, but I think, talking back on Scotland, it was very, very convincing to get that goal and then just push on from there. And actually, we did dominate the end of the match, and we could have sneaked all 3 points, couldn't we have, Liam?
Absolutely, yeah. And that is the encouraging signs for Scotland, that we continue to have the fighting spirit. Usually Scotland when we went 2-1 down, usually Scotland would down tools. The fact that we stuck by it and we kept going is a positive sign. And it can only be a good sign going forward for the games at the weekend and the game at midweek as well. But I pray to the Lords that Robertson is rested in one of the games, otherwise I'm going to lose my nut. Because at this point, I don't know when he's going to get a rest, because Liverpool's a discussion for another time, but he's one of the only 2 players this season. This is actually mad, by the way. One of only 2 players that have not picked up an injury for Liverpool this season, and he's on the brink. I can just feel it.
I know. See, the thing is, but Robertson always scores a screamer against the wee teams at Hampden. Do you not notice that?
Aye.
He always scores a screamer in these wee games, and he always plays. He'll be captain. So, don't know. I can see them playing him, or maybe Tierney will get tried out left back and whatever. But yeah,
Considine.
He played. See, to be honest with you, people have been slaughtering him, saying why is Considine in the squad. He played an absolute stormer when he played in the last campaign. Do you not think, when he came on?
I'd agree on that. He played a stormer in the last campaign, and that probably earned him this call up. But he wasn't on the bench today, which is bizarre. And also his performances for Aberdeen, he's regressed a lot since that cap, and that's concerning. Like, he's 33 now. Good on him for getting that cap, but that maybe should have happened 10 years ago. Maybe not now. I don't know. We got Declan Gallagher in centre back, but I've got a question to all these actually. When was the last time, on top of John McGinn, when was the last time a Scottish player scored an overhead kick?
I was gonna say, I reckon it's the best goal maybe since like James McFadden's goal against France. I don't know if I've got a terrible memory, and there's some better goals in there since, but.
This is free kick versus England.
Oh, that's a good.
Aye.
But that's not from open play though, is it?
No, it's just the pure scenes that came
nah,
after, though.
Yeah, no, it's a good
I would say Robertson's goal. I think Robertson's goal was an absolute cracker. I think it was Gibraltar. Was it?
Yeah, I think it was either Gibraltar or someone like Macedonia.
He scored two. He scored two, and one of them at Hampton was an absolute cracker. But there's been a fair few. Lauren Shanklin's tap in on the line. That was quite a good one as well.
I think Stephen Fletcher scored an overhead kick against Gibraltar a few seasons ago as well. An acrobatic sort of effort. But
Is that the last one that
apparently so?
Apparently. Very interesting. That was a good one there, Robbie. I like that. So 2-each draw. Happy with that? Are we happy with it?
I mentioned it earlier. I'll take it, but we could have played. It could have been so much more for Scotland. We could have really made our mark in the group. And I think we have got 2 winnable games coming up now. Obviously, Israel will be a problem for us. Israel are always a problem for us, but it's good and bad, I'd say.
Yeah. Next up, Israel. It's not a long lost sight, is it? We've had them 3-4 times, five times in the last 2 or 3 years. It's getting beyond a joke, isn't it? Robbie, sick of the sight of them, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely crazy. Just 5 months ago we played them, and it seems like never ending following Israel about, but it's never going to be an easy game. Obviously on paper I always think, we're favourites, but we've seen every game we've played against them has not been easy. Went to penalties against them in the Euro qualifying semi-finals. I hope that we can get a win. I can take the positives of a lot of the game today, especially second half, that we can get a win. And obviously Israel lost their opening game today as well, so I feel they'll have a point to prove, and hopefully our guys will be up for it and get the 3 points to secure a higher ranking in the group, because you don't want to lose that game, because then that could give us a mountain to climb, and that's what we don't want for Scotland.
Where is the game?
It's in Tel Aviv, I think.
All right.
Yeah. So
yeah. What I was going to say to you is massive threat. The one player we need to look out for, Zahavi. He's signed with PSG in the summer purely on his form for Israel, isn't it? Zahavi, he's been some threat, hasn't he? Time and time again against Scotland. He scored 2 in the last 3 games against us. So
yeah,
really need to look out for him.
Yeah, they also need to look out for our threat as well. Ollie McBurney. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. They need to look. But seriously though, Scotland do have a threat going forward now, and it will be something that these teams need to look out for. And although Lyndon Dykes, I feel like is more of a hold-up player, he's not going to bag you a goal every single game. Although he is a striker, he will hold up the ball well. Che Adams is going to be important for the next 2 games. I think I would start him in the next 2 games if I was Steve Clarke. And when we saw just there that John McGinn, and even from free kicks and corners, like Grant Hanley, it's a positive sign going forward. And Israel got to be frightened as well.
The thing is, we can't rely on defenders and a John McGinn wonder goal every game. We're going to need a number 9 just to kind of take that position by the scruff of the neck. And I feel like we don't know who our best number 9 is right now. They're not. I don't feel like we've got a reliable goal scorer in that position at the moment. I feel like that's maybe the biggest concern. I feel like it shows how together the team is, that anyone can kind of chip in with a goal and you don't know who's going to score. But I feel like that will be our problem. As we get to the Euros and play some tougher games in the qualifying round for the World Cup.
I think we can just be thankful we're not relying on Callum Paterson anymore. I think it's a positive. Yeah, exactly. But I think it's a positive to say that we've got so many options now. We've got Ollie McBurney was first choice last year, wasn't he? When we didn't have Dykes, we didn't have Ollie McBurney. There was no other choice apart from Ollie McBurney. So look at it
Lee
now.
Griffiths.
But Griffiths, remember Griffiths was out at this time last year, so we didn't have anybody else except for McBurney. So look at the positive now. We've got McBurney, we've got Che Adams, we've got Shanklin, we've got Nisbet. Nisbet's on fire now with Hibs as well. And then we've obviously got, who was I just talking about there? Lyndon Dykes. we're in a really, really good position. Probably the best position Scotland have been in a good 10, 15 years, to be honest with you. So looking at it in hindsight, maybe it's a good thing we don't have a number 9, a set number 9, because you see all these players, they're all fighting for the position, and you can tell when they got on that part. Maybe Dykes is taking a wee step back tonight, but I'll tell you, the effort was still there tonight with Dykes, even though he didn't have the best of games. He's high pressing, and he's attempt at interceptions anyway, holding the ball up as usual. So it really is food for thought. If Griffiths wants to get himself back in there, he needs to start performing for Celtic, or he needs to move somewhere and get game time. But Scotland as a squad, we're in a really, really strong position, aren't we, Robbie?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I can echo exactly what you're saying. It's good to have healthy competition at both ends of the pitch, which we do. I forgot to mention Scott McKenna when I was mentioning the centre-backs. I was just trying to wrangle my memory in terms of players that have played at centre-back in the squad. But I do think it's healthy competition, and you look at the bench today, as players that can turn a game. I know Ryan Fraser is not having the best this season at Newcastle, but third top assist behind Hazard and De Bruyne about 3 seasons ago. He probably still has that in him if he needed a plan B in a game. So it's good to have options and a strong squad, because when before would we have Premier League players on the bench not starting? Before, it was mostly made up of Celtic and Rangers players, or lower league, Championship or League One players. So we've came a long way in a short period of time, considering 3 years ago, or maybe it was only 2 years ago, it was getting beat 3-0 by Kazakhstan. So that just shows the progress made.
Yeah. So Faroe Islands after Israel on Sunday, it's going to be a game to try new players out, try new formations, try different things out, isn't it? Because no team is ever a washover, but I think we can.
This should be a washover for Scotland. Even for Scotland, this should be an easy one.
Yeah, I think we can say it's going to be a game where we should be winning it easily anyway. Look,
absolutely.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts going into this game?
Yeah, I think it's just important to get the selection right, because it's a game we should win, like you say, and I suppose it is just maybe the Robertsons and some of the players who have played a lot of minutes this season. Maybe see if you can give them a rest, and a couple of players that are maybe not been getting as many games for Scotland, that are on the verge of breaking into that team, or taking a position for their own. Just give them the opportunity and see what they can do. We're talking about the centre forward position a second ago. That's probably a big one to see who plays there against the Faroe Islands, and if someone can get a couple of goals, maybe just to sort of solidify their place in there. But yeah, I think it'd just be good to rest a couple of players who've been playing a lot of minutes, but have a good balance. Have a few players who haven't been playing a lot of minutes, like I say, and but most importantly, just make sure we get the 3 points.
Yep. Robbie, can you see Nisbet getting a start against Faroe Islands? I think it's very likely.
I would like to see Nisbet alongside Adams against Faroe Islands. I think playing 4-4-2 or even 3-5-2, but with more attacking players, surely has to be the key against Faroe Islands. No disrespect to Faroe Islands, but I'd give the likes of McLean, Fraser, Nisbet, McKenna, players that's not been, Liam Palmer, even John McLaughlin or Craig, because all these players, that's a good thing, as we mentioned about Scotland's squad. Any of that players on the bench would have walked into a lot of Scotland squads in the last few years. You look back just a few seasons ago, it was Martin and Mulgrew at the back, or
a few seasons ago, it was last year.
Better and the like. Yeah, exactly. So we've came a long way, and I think Nisbet, he's picked up the form again with Hibs the last few games, and I think guys like him do deserve a chance to play for the national team, because why not? And every game, I agree with Luke, the selection needs to be right, but every game needs to be treated with perfection. So no matter who we play, the players can't be complacent. We should beat Faroe Islands, but you want to put in a good performance nonetheless.
Yeah.
If we rest all our good players and then lose or draw, like, that's a disaster for me, especially if we don't beat Israel, which is going to be a very tough game. Like, it's an absolute must-win against them.
We lost 1-0 last time there, so it's going to be a tough ask. Israel aren't a hard team to break down at all. We've seen that in recent games. Drew with them 1 each and then lost 1-0, so it's going to be a big ask. What I would ask of you is what's your predictions coming into the next two games? We'll start on the Israel game. We'll just go round. So we'll start with Luke. So, I was just talking to you. What's your prediction getting into the Israel game?
Being optimistic and seeing how we sort of fought back tonight and showed that the players are fighting. The players clearly do have some sort of belief that we've not seen in Scotland teams for so long. I'll say 2-1. It is to Scotland. It's going to be a dangerous game though, and definitely no guarantees. And they're going to have to turn up and play their best football. But the optimist in me says 2-1 Scotland against Israel.
Who's going to score?
I'll go McTominay. I don't know. And we're talking about him, Robertson.
Very, very optimistic. Not going to happen, but okay. Robbie, what about you?
I'm going to go with Luke's scoreline as well. Actually, I'm going to be optimistic. I can see a lot of positives from tonight's performance against Austria. I think in the words of Ian Crocker, it's going to be we're going to have to do this the hard way. I think we'll win 2-1, but they'll score. I think we'll take the lead. They'll score an equaliser to shake us, and then they go behind the ball. We struggle to break them down, but someone such as Mcginn again, someone like that can just pop up with a bit of magic and we'll win the game. I'm optimistic that we can do, and you've got to be optimistic as a Tartan Army fan, Scotland fan.
Yep. Liam?
I will go a 1-0 win, and I will say that Cristiano Ronaldo will score. Do you see what I've done there?
Oh, God.
Kidding on. He won't score.
You just sign off for now, mate. Just sign off for now.
I was actually, whilst you were all saying your predictions, I was just like, well, what Christie pun can I say here?
He's been sitting there in silence for a few minutes, and that's the best he can come up with.
Yeah, I'll give you a story earlier on. So Liam thought it was funny, and he said a joke, and it was funny, but I think he's got a bit of confidence about him now, and that's why he's coming up with some dad jokes. So we just need to stop laughing at him. So it doesn't come up with the dad jokes.
In all seriousness, I do think we'll win 1-0, and I'll say Che Adams will get his first goal for us.
Excellent. This is going to be a hard one because it's Israel away. The last time we really did struggle. And I know it was just after we qualified for the Euros and stuff, but it's a hard one. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I just don't see us getting a victory over there. It's a very hard place to go to. A very hostile atmosphere, even though there is no fans. And the humidity and stuff is totally different there as well. So I think we will struggle. But I can see Ryan Christie getting himself a goal. After tonight, I thought Ryan Christie played well tonight. Honestly, I thought he did play well tonight. He was unlucky not to get a penalty as well. But yeah, I can see him getting a goal and us holding on for a 1-1 draw out there and just taking a point home.
I'll take it.
Faroe Islands. Yeah, Faroe Islands. What are we saying? We'll just 3-4, 5-0. It's not really a prediction, is it? It's just how many goals we can get against them, isn't it?
No, in Scotland we'll make it 1 or 2-0.
Yeah, I'll say 3-0. Just on the chance that we do a lot of that we see a lot of rotation and maybe not all our best players playing. I'll say 3-0.
Is it a case of, because this group might come down to goal difference? So what I'm asking is it a case of going all out for this game, or is it a case of trying players out? What do we do? Do we try players out?
We need to do both.
Yeah.
We need to do both. And the players we try out the players, as I alluded to before, the players we try out, Nisbet, I don't know what level Faroe Islands players are playing at, but the Scottish Premier League striker like Nisbet should be able to score a couple of goals against the Faroe Islands. Or England, I don't know the equivalent with San Marino to the Faroe Islands, but they won 5-0 tonight. I don't know how strong a team they had on, but I'd expect Scotland to get a scoreline such as 5-6-0 against the Faroe Islands. Hopefully, anyway.
You never know. You seen the Brora Rangers v Hearts score the other night. You never know what can happen. That was a mad one, wasn't it? Hearts, top of the championship. Brora Rangers hadn't played since the 19th of December. Trained for 2 weeks, and they beat Hearts 2-1 at home. Madness. Absolute
Nielsen
scenes.
out.
But we can be optimistic after tonight's result because it was an excellent draw for Scotland. At least it wasn't a loss for once against Austria. We'll take it with a heart in hand. Boys, absolutely excellent tonight. Superb. Loved every minute of it. Thank you very much for joining us. Hope you're all doing well, and we'll definitely see you next week for the Scotland review to see how we actually did do, and we'll talk about predictions. But thank you very much for joining us again. It's a pleasure. Please do us a big, massive favour and drop that subscription button. Click it. Takes 2 seconds and it'll do us a massive favour. If we get more subscriptions, we can make better content for you guys. Thank you very much. And until then, it's a goodbye from me.
God bless.
Bye from me.
Bye from me. Cheers.
Come on, Scotland.